Hi, it's Katrina. Number 10. The Fanfin Sea Devil. The Fanfin Sea Devil is an anglerfish, one of those hideous monsters from the deep that has a long lure hanging in front of its face to trick other creatures into swimming into its mouth. But this particular anglerfish lives in the deepest and spookiest depths of the ocean. And for the first time, it's been caught mating on camera. Researchers captured an image of the female sea devil filled with eggs and the parasitic male still attached to her belly. These fish are amazing for just how weird their reproductive system is. The only way anglerfish can reproduce is if the male hunts the female down somewhere in the deep sea, attaches his tiny body onto her, and then fuses himself into her tissue. He slowly becomes absorbed inside, leading to a permanent connection. Even their circulatory systems become interconnected, and the male wastes away to nothing but testes. And while these remarkable creatures have been found in the Mariana Trench, this photo came from around 3,000 feet deep near the Azores in Spain using a submersible vessel. It was a total fluke and a lucky shot, considering only 14 female specimens have ever been found before. And this was the first time a male Fanfin sea devil has ever been seen by humans. Number 9. The Megalodon? About 3 million years ago, arguably the scariest shark that ever lived went extinct. This was the Megalodon. The shark grew to be around 60 feet long, with a mouth over 10 feet wide and 276 teeth like torture devices for slicing up its prey. Yet even though scientists all agree there are no more giant Megalodon sharks living on our planet, that hasn't stopped the rumors and stories. Some believe there could still be one of these giant sharks living at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Just recently, some bizarre footage surfaced online of what appears to be a shark on the ocean floor. Nobody knows exactly where this footage came from, but it shows a truly enormous beast of a shark just kind of swimming around at the bottom of the ocean. It's estimated at 22 feet long, and it has some saying it's proof that there are still prehistoric sharks in the ocean. Shortly after this footage came out, even more footage was captured off the coast of New England, showing a huge, prehistoric-sized shark swimming just beside a research vessel. This footage was caught about 100 miles off the coast of Woods Hole, with the creature looking to be nearly 30 feet long. And while this sparked more rumors that there could be megalodons hiding out in the Mariana Trench, it turned out to be a normal basking shark. Number 8. Mystery critters. In the 1980s and 1990s, the record-breaking oceanographer and astronaut Kathy Sullivan traveled 250 miles above the Earth and became the first American woman to walk in space. Then, in 2020, at 68 years old, Kathy traveled 7 miles down to the deepest part of the ocean. She went to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, a journey of over 12 hours. The trench is between Hawaii and the Philippines, a massive crescent-shaped gully carved out of the ocean floor. And while we aren't sure how many large creatures live there, Kathy saw a variety of small, mysterious critters living in the sediment. According to what Kathy told the Marine Technology Society after she was back on land, the bottom of the Mariana Trench was made up of extremely fine silt and was overflowing with small burrowing critters like you might find in a big pile of dirt. She couldn't identify these creatures, but could plainly see them squirming around like underwater bugs. She also saw some sea cucumbers and some tracks left in the dirt from where something had crawled across the bottom. Thanks to Kathy, we now know that even at the deepest point, there are plenty of unknown life forms wriggling and burrowing around. We don't know exactly what they are, and they aren't much bigger than worms, but they seem to thrive deep in the Mariana Trench. Number 7. The snailfish. There is one fish that lives in the Mariana Trench deeper than any other. It's kind of pink, a little slippery, and it looks like a giant tadpole that never turned into a frog. It's located roughly 21,000 feet beneath the surface of the ocean and is perfectly content in a world of utter darkness, where the pressure is so strong that it reaches over 1,000 times more than what's at sea level. That tightening feeling you get when you dive a few feet into the water, it's like that pressure, only 1,000 times stronger. That's enough to crush your body into jelly. This is the snailfish, or the Mariana snailfish to be exact, and it's the top predator in the greatest trench on Earth. A team of Chinese researchers recently scored some specimens from about 23,000 feet below sea level, then used them to examine the anatomy of these fascinating marine animals. Researchers found many strange things about the creature's structure. Kun Wang from Northwestern Polytechnical University says the fish have gaps in their skulls. These gaps probably work like pressure relief valves to balance their insides with their outsides, keeping them from getting crushed. Even more interesting is that their frames aren't entirely made of bone, but are mostly cartilage. The fish have evolved a mutation in the gene responsible for forming bones, causing them to be partially non-functional. This allows their bones to become more flexible, so they don't get crushed by the severe pressure down in the trench. And now for number 6, but first it's shout-out time! Big thank you to Iron and All About the Goal for supporting this channel. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos about amazing discoveries. Number 6. Living viruses. In a shocking first, researchers have retrieved living viruses from the deepest point in the Mariana Trench. The team from Shanghai identified several giant viral species, including something called a mimivirus, which uses amoeba as its host. These viruses were all taken out of the seabed about 36,000 feet below sea level. What's really interesting is that while giant viruses have been found in all kinds of other places in the ocean, they appear to be significantly more abundant the deeper you go. Mimiviruses, which make up roughly 4% of the viral population in the seabed, were originally mistaken for bacteria when scientists identified them during a serious pneumonia outbreak in 1992. This is because the viruses are so big and have such giant hairy fibers that they can even be visible sometimes to the naked eye. These are viruses you can actually see, like little spots of dust. To give you an example, a giant mimivirus has about 1.2 million base pairs in its genome, which makes its genetic sequence 40 times longer than the novel coronavirus. And while there is no evidence that these viruses found in the Mariana Trench can cause any damage to humans, researchers say they have been known to seriously harm tissue in other mammals. Number 5. The red jelly. The benzocodon can simply be called the red jelly of the Mariana Trench, and scientists know almost nothing about the creature. This thing is tiny, almost impossible to spot, and a dark, deep shade of red. They can be found only near the sea floor, but are so elusive that scientists haven't really studied them much. They know there are 2 distinct species, and also that the red jelly doesn't have any good ways to move around. It can't really propel itself in one direction or another. Instead, it has to spend its entire life in the water column, being pushed around by currents. Because of this, they can be found in the deepest parts of the ocean, all the way from Antarctica to California, in the Arctic, and even down in the dark of the Great Mariana Trench. Number 4. The forehead fish. In 2020, new footage appeared of an extremely unusual deep-sea fish. Unlike most creatures, this fish doesn't see out of a pair of eyeballs on its head. It sees the world through its translucent forehead. The footage was caught tens of thousands of feet beneath the surface off the coast of California, over 2,000 feet down in Monterey Bay. It's such a rare thing to see the forehead fish, or the barrel eye fish, that it's only been seen 9 times by researchers. This is despite the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute going on over 5,600 dives in search of it. That's a pretty small success rate just for trying to take some pictures of a weird fish. And although the footage was captured in Monterey Bay, we know the fish has a wide range of habitats across the ocean, all the way to Asia and way down into the Mariana Trench. But let's look at what makes this creepy fish so weird. The fish's head is protected by a clear shield that's filled with what looks like gelatinous fluid. Its eyeballs are in the shapes of barrels and are hidden behind its fluid-filled shield. When the lights of the submersible vehicle hit the fish, its eyes glowed bright green like shiny marbles. Researchers say the fish can orient its eyes in whichever direction it wants, even looking straight up through the top of its head toward the surface. But the actual anatomy of the fish is still a mystery to scientists. According to Bruce Robinson, one of the senior researchers involved in tracking down the barrel eye fish, they do not know about its population size. They mostly think the fish just glides through the water, waiting for something to get close enough to its mouth to eat. Number 3. The dragonfish. The terrifying dragonfish is one of the most incredible animals you may have never heard of. It looks like a terrifying deep-sea dragon. It has huge white fangs it uses to rip apart its prey, along with a shiny red body looking like some kind of bloody worm. But even though it looks frightening, its biology is incredible. The dragonfish are the only fish in the ocean that can both generate and see red light. The fish generates its own kind of red glow, like a search beam through the water, which it uses to detect prey. And since the prey can't see the red color of the light, nor the red color of the dragonfish's body, it's invisible to everything else in the ocean. This unique skill has made them pretty much untouchable, like living ghosts. The chances of seeing a dragonfish are extremely slim, seeing as they live about 6,000 feet or more below the surface in the bathyal zone. This is where a very tiny bit of sunlight breaches the water, so little that it's nearly total darkness. Because of this, the creatures down here have all developed their own form of bioluminescence. The dragonfish is unique because it gives off its own color that other creatures can't see. It's amazing that the fish evolved to glow red, seeing as that's the color at the lowest end of the spectrum that can shine through water. For example, blue light can penetrate the most amount of water, therefore it works best in the blue ocean. But red is the opposite, barely able to breach the surface. So when the dragonfish glows red way down at the bottom, it looks like a burning ball of fire in the darkness. Only the other fish can't see it. Number 2. Vampire squid. The vampire squid is not a vampire, nor a squid, nor an octopus. Instead, the vampire squid is its very own unique animal that scientists have separated into a distinct group. It has 8 arms and 2 tentacles, but it's not technically a squid. It also doesn't slurp blood, although it wears a cape. The dark red skin which connects its arms looks like a vampire's cape, sticking out rigidly because of the large spines underneath its arms. But this creepy critter, which has visited the Mariana Trench, isn't even a predator. It instead eats nothing but food particles that it catches on its sticky arms. Any kind of excess organic matter that's floating through the ocean all gets stuck to its tentacles, which it then eats for dinner. Also, unlike a genuine squid, the vampire squid does not shoot black ink into the water to escape danger. Because it lives in such a deep part of the ocean, black ink wouldn't do anything. It would be invisible. So this unique animal had to evolve its own defensive strategy. Instead of black ink, the vampire squid squirts a colorless substance filled with bioluminescent particles. It shoots twinkling stardust out like an underwater glitter bomb. All those twinkling lights confuse predators and allow the vampire squid to get away. Number 1. The flying saucer jellyfish. Researchers with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration have just discovered a never-before-seen creature while exploring the depths of the Mariana Trench. They came across an underwater animal that can only be described as a flying saucer jellyfish. The scientists who were surveying the area using an underwater research vessel were shocked to see a jellyfish with bright pink tentacles and a bright red and yellow bulb. It looks like a miniature spaceship gliding through the water. They were even more surprised to learn that nobody else had ever seen such a jellyfish before. That's probably because it lives almost 2.5 miles underneath the surface of the ocean. And since the researchers only got a glimpse, scientists don't really know anything about it. They think it probably uses its tentacles like a dragnet to snag unsuspecting prey. But really, it just looks like one big intergalactic monster floating listlessly through the ocean. What's your favorite creepy creature from the deep sea? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching! Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon!